Hey, what's going on, guys? Justin Williams here with Dirt Time Adventures and Trailblazer Survival School, and today we are out on the Palmetto Trail. I'm actually out walking and hiking a little bit, not too much. My primary purpose for being out today is to find new plant flora. I'm actually looking for a new diversity of plants. We've got an upcoming class this week, and this coming week, and there's just not a lot of plant diversity, so I was really hoping to find an area that had a little more abundance. But unfortunately, most of the woods here in this part of South Carolina is pine. And because the pine needles fall to the ground, it prevents a lot of plants from growing that might actually grow in this area. It has to do with the acid and lye content of the ground, and it just changes. So a lot of what grows in abundance here is we see a lot of grapevine, and there's a lot of maple trees and different types of grass families, but there's just not a lot of abundance of different diversity and flora. So but while I was out on the trail today, I thought we'd find a plant for foragers find, and I believe we found a pretty nice plant for this. And it actually doesn't have an edible part to it right now that I would consider edible, but it is a beautiful an example of Greenbriar, and that's what we're going to look at right now. As you can see here, we got this beautiful Greenbriar, perfect example. To me, the best way I can describe it is it looks like it's got little pumpkins on it. They just got little pumpkins. They're rounded, and then they got these lines to it. They also have some arrowhead looking shaped leaves sometimes too that Greenbriar comes out. But the thing I love about Greenbriar is it is a viney plant, but it has thorns on it, so you got to be real careful. See if I can capture some of those thorns for you. Little bitty thorns, man, and they are sharp as all get out. And so those thorns will get you. And I've seen some pictures of there's different types of Greenbriar where it looks like just razor sharp teeth all the way up it. But this is a pretty common Greenbriar right here. And the best thing about it is it has these little curly shoots that come off the ends. I'm trying to be careful not to touch this thing because it will mess you up. But it got these little curlicues that will come off the ends. Sorry guys, trying to keep it. There we go. Alright, so it'll have these little curlicues that come off the ends, and they're very succulent, they're very tender, and I think they're delicious. And so the one downside to being out on the Palmetto Trail today is that there are some highways that run close by, and they got logging trucks that run up and down it all day long. So not the most enjoyable for that factor. But I wanted to give you a little bit of insight into Greenbriar today, and hopefully you can get out and look for it. The one great thing about Greenbriar that is different than any other plant, I wouldn't say any other plant, but the majority of plants, is that Greenbriar actually has protein in it. You won't get that from many plants, but Greenbriar has protein, which is, you know, it's just so vital in a hunter-gatherer diet, is that you can have protein. And so anyways, get out there, look for you some Greenbriar. As always, I encourage you to be careful when you're doing plant identification. Make sure you take some field guides with you so that you can, you know, research and be able to compare and identify. And you know, I spent yesterday making a new wild plant identification guide. I think it looks great. I just got to figure out the formatting to get it to print right. Here's another cool plant. We probably won't ever cover it on Forager's Find, but it's I think it's pronounced lespedeza. Anyways, it's was a fodder that was brought in for cattle, but it's kind of just grown a little bit everywhere. So where was I? Oh yeah. So making this plant guide, and it looks great, but the same disclaimer I want to give with you that I put in that is just, you know, study and research plants wisely and be safe. Don't be eating stuff that you don't know what it is. Just use a lot of common sense. And so, all right, guys. Well, this is Justin with another episode of Forager's Find. Hopefully, the traffic and my movement didn't make you motion sick or drive you nuts. But I want to be putting out a plant a week and giving you guys some insight on summer plants. And today is actually fall, so get to move into the fall plants. Well, guys, thanks again for sharing, subscribing, and tuning in to another episode of Dirt Time Adventures and Forager's Find. And until next time, do plan on shooting or releasing a new Wiki Up Part 2 video next week. So if you're interested in the Wiki Up, be sure to check it out.